Is it just me? Or was 2016 the year all of our favorite superheroes were fighting each other? We got a couple movies like that in the span of a few months. The film we're talking about today is definitely the superior film in my eyes. Thank you, Russo brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another brand new movie review, and as always, I thank you all so much for stopping by. And I hope you enjoy your stay, because we are moving right along in the Marvel Studios playlist, guys. We are chugging right along in the build-up to Black Widow and all these other amazing projects that are being thrown onto Disney+. And this time around, just in time for the premiere of Falcon and Winter Soldier this weekend, we're starting off Phase 3 with Captain America Civil War. As good old JR would say, business just picked up. This is the second MCU project directed by Anthony and Joe Russo after the incredible Captain America the Winter Soldier. And it stars everybody. Literally everybody. Captain America's here, Iron Man, Black Panther, Black Widow, Falcon, Bucky, Ant-Man, Spider-Man. We'll get to him. But all of the gang are here. And I do mean all of them. Damn it. Political pressure mounts to install a system of accountability when the actions of the Avengers lead to collateral damage and loss of innocent lives. And this new status quo deeply divides members of the team. Captain America believes superheroes should remain free to defend humanity without government interference. But on the other side of the spectrum, you have Iron Man, who sharply disagrees and supports oversight. And as the debate escalates into an all-out feud, other members like Black Widow and Hawkeye must pick a side. And as per with all this Marvel talk on the channel, this video may contain some mild to moderate spoilers. So just in case you've never seen Civil War, pause the video right here, go check it out, it's on Disney Plus right now, and then come right back and we'll talk a little bit more detail. Oh boy, guys, there's a lot to unpack with Captain America Civil War. I will admit that this movie isn't one that I tend to rewatch a ton compared to some of the other Marvel projects we've gotten recently, but whenever I do, it still deeply affects me, because the Russo brothers have a way of grounding these grand comic book narratives in reality. Similar to The Winter Soldier, which felt more like a 70s spy espionage hit, this movie delves into the politics behind the Avengers. Should they continue on as their own free, independent organization who saves the world as they see fit? Or should the government keep them in check and only bring them in for crises as they see fit? And I think this script does an absolutely sensational job of establishing both sides of that argument. And not only is this a supremely fun movie to watch action-wise, but with all the politics in mind, Captain America Civil War is also a movie that really makes you think. And I know there was this big Team Cap versus Team Stark argument back in 2016, but this movie is absolutely masterful in establishing motivations for both sides. This script very clearly establishes who's on which side and why they're on that side. And I don't know about you guys, but as this movie always progresses, I always find myself switching sides. And part of that is because these characters are so likable and so well established. Which, if I could go on a side note, there's not a ton of exposition in this movie either. And these performances from everybody, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, who has a lot of juicy material to sink her teeth into, especially after her alliance with Evans in The Winter Soldier, Jeremy Renner, Paul Bettany, and Lizzie Olsen perhaps ordering a pizza, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, the list goes on and on. They are all extremely grounded and well-crafted performances. Every single one, and you therefore understand why each character feels the way they do about this dilemma. And those were all veterans of the game at this point that I just listed off. But we also add a few new members into the mix. And that includes the iconic Chadwick Boseman in his debut as T'Challa / Black Panther. Rest in peace, King. This was a sensational debut for him in this universe. Because not only is this an outstanding performance, but it's also so well written. His introduction and his morphing into the Black Panther after the death of his father at the hands of Bucky Barnes, no less. Ever since that heartbreaking scene, he is absolutely relentless to get to this guy. And that leads into one of my favorite action sequences in this movie. It's an amazing car chase sequence that takes place underground for most of the time, and it ends with T'Challa unmasking himself as the Black Panther. I don't know what it was, but I remember smiling really big in the theater when I saw that for the first time. Might as well talk about some of this action while I'm at it. The stunt work in this movie is such an incredible spectacle. When this film came out, I was actually working at a movie theater, and I cannot tell tell you how many lunch periods I spent sneaking into that theater and rewatching the airport sequence over and over again. Because that airport sequence, in my eyes, comic book cinema perfection. The quips are there, the fights are there, the humor is there. It is a comic book fan's dream come true. Okay, little dude's big now. He's big now. Does anyone else have any strange and inhumane powers that they'd like to disclose? Yeah, this is your conscience. We haven't spoken in a while. And that brings me into Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, which links it all up with his solo film's post-credit sequence with the Falcon and with Cap. So awesome. When he turns giant in that airport sequence I was just talking about, I honestly can't remember the last time I laughed that hard at a comic book movie. It might have been at that point. Speaking of comedy, yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk about Spider-Man. He was the one I was really looking forward to seeing in this, but I was also very, very careful not to set my expectations too high. Especially as someone who is really hyped to see Andrew Garfield's movies, and yeah. Another story for another time. Tom Holland's iteration of this character in Civil War, I think, was the best Spider-Man we've gotten on the big screen since Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I absolutely adored him, still do to this day. And his scene and his connection with Tony Stark is one of the most touching and funny and sweet bonds that we get in the entire MCU. And I can't wait to touch on that connection more and more, especially as we go through Homecoming and Far From Home. Love, love, love Spider-Man in this universe. So grateful that Tom Holland is here to save the role. I obviously really love Civil War. I think it's easily up there with some of Marvel's strongest entries still to this date. My only issue with this film is sadly a big one. The villain of this piece, Baron Zemo, he unfortunately doesn't do much for me. Don't get me wrong, Daniel Bruhl is an excellent actor, and he's a great fit for this role, and he's definitely extremely menacing when he has to be. But given this tense political conflict that's going on within the Avengers, Zemo just feels like an afterthought in the grand scheme of things. Like, every time it cuts to him, especially on this rewatch, I don't know, I felt like it was just a big distraction from the big plot line at hand. That's a big nitpick though. I still really dig his performance, and I can't wait to see what he does in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I cannot wait to keep rewatching Captain America Civil War over and over again as the years go by. This is definitely an instant classic in the MCU. I'm gonna give Civil War an A. Also, as per with all these MCU projects, stay tuned for that mid and post-credit sequence, guys. The ones this time around are a couple of really nice link-ups to a couple of the best solo acts we've gotten in the modern MCU. But this is all just my opinion. What do you guys think of Captain America Civil War? Do you guys agree with me? Do you not? What is your favorite fight scene in a superhero film? I would love to discuss all of these thoughts and then some all down there in the comments section, guys. Because as you know, I always love talking cinema and all things entertainment with you guys. If these topics sound appealing to you, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button down below as hard as you possibly can. It is free, first off. It would really help out the channel if you did so, and you will also be the first ones to know anytime a new video is uploaded over here. And just a reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up on your way out. And as always, look out for more exciting content hitting this channel very, very soon, including the next installment in this playlist. We're going to continue looking at Phase 3 with one of the strangest characters we had received up to this point. Literally. He's the Doctor of Strange. So you guys have got that to look forward to and much, much more. You guys are awesome. And with all that being said, back talk, commence!